So you are welcome to Badagry. I think Badagry was founded around 1425 by a man called Agbede. Agbede is a blacksmith. So coming to Badagry, they're saying they're going to Agbede Grime. Grime in Ogun language means farm. So when the British came, because of their tongue, they corrupted it to Badagry. That's how Badagry came to stay. And the slavery began around 14th century by a man called Prince Henry Navigator. Though the first slave trade started by the Arabs, we call it trans-Arab slave trade, around 7th century, and it lasted for 17th century. Then later, the Portuguese started the trans-Atlantic slave trade. We call the Arab slave trade trans-Arab slave trade. Then the Portuguese one is called trans-Atlantic slave trade, which began around 14th to 15th century by a man called Prince Henry, Navigator of Portugal. Though their own slave trade just started for 400 years, and within that 400 years, about 25 to 30 million Africans were being taken away as a slave. But it was so sad that only few that made the journey, because majority of them found themselves at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. Now, these shackles and chains that I'm holding, they are over 500 years. So we are not being born. We call it neck collar chain. And the beauty of this chain is, or the beauty of this museum, most of the museum you visit, you may not have access to their shackles and chains because they kept them inside the show glass or whatever they call it. But this one, I'm still going to bring it down for you guys to feel the weight. Then while you are walking on that narrow path to the point of no return, you now feel what those enslaved Africa went through back then. And the company that produced this chain is at 111 and 15 at Baltimore in Birmingham, London, named Yates and Company, H-A-I-T-T and Company, that produced neck collar chain that they wore on the neck of the slave Africa. And the chain used to come up with some torture equipment that I'll be introducing to you guys step by step. But before I do that, the family that own this museum, we call them the Mobies family. The family derived their name from Kolano. It was their forefather, whose name was Odohu, facilitated the trade. The European come to buy slave from him. He used to offer them Kolano, like Oyinbo Remi and Muobije. And the villager picked it up and they started calling the man Mobi. And today, the family have no option. They just have to adopt the name as their real name and surname. Badagry has 8 quarters. Where you are is not Boikon quarter. So the Mobi family were the one in control that ruling Boikon quarter. And that's the picture of the current Mobi of Badagry Kingdom. Now, I used to tell people that I don't know if the family really know what they really house, because you cannot see these things again. Because after the abolition of the trade by the British, I think the British abolished slavery in their 1807, and they started campaigning against that. All that countries should stop the trade that they started, and they tried to bury most of those anti-facilities that were used back then. But the family of Mobi still retain this thing. And I used to tell you that if you come to Badagry without visiting the Mobi family relics, you have to come back again, because this is a chain. And I'm still going to bring it down for you to feel the weight. Now, the chain used to come out with some torture equipment that I'll be introducing to you. Then back then, we have 2 categories of slave. We have a domestic slave that work in their master's house, while the field work on the farm or on the plantation. Now, my name is Cornerstone, or you can call me Kofi. What's your name, sir?
Martin, sir.
Martin.
Martin, yes.
Martin. What's your name?
My name is
Tunde. You?
Cecilia.
What's your name, sir?
I'm Suleiman.
You?
Enko.
Enko. Now, the reason I'm asking your name, some of you give me 2 names, or give me that 2 names, I do gotta tell you where you really come from. And when I did the introduction of myself, I said my name is Cornerstone. And if I should ask you guys to tell me where I come from with that name, it will be a little bit difficult. Because that name is not our name. We Africans, our name tells story, historic or direct. Somebody can locate you with just your name. Now, if I tell you that I'm Kofi, and somebody just guess Kofi,
Like a Ghanaian.
can trace me down to Ghana or Togo. So our name have direction. When people pay a visit, I used to tell them, please, let us retain our African name. There's nothing wrong with our name. We can still be our African name and be a Muslim or Christian. It does not change anything. Now, this one is called branding iron. They put this one inside the fire. If I'm Mustafa's slave, my name should be Mustafa. Or if I'm John's slave, my name should be John. They put this inside the fire. They will not heat it very well. When the tip turn red, they will not use to write John or Mustafa on my chest or at my back. We call it brandy. I don't know if you feel it. People compare tattoo with brandy. It's a different thing. Tattoo, they use needle. But this one, hot iron on somebody's body. Now, secondly, there's some slave called fugitives. Who are the fugitives? Those are the runaway slaves. Today you run, tomorrow the master says you bring him, and they put his toe this way on something. Then they will let other enslaved Africans stay aside to view or watch. Now, they put it indirect here, and suddenly they will hammer it down on the toes of the runaway slave. Or if they don't want to use this, they use an axe or a cutlass, they chop off one of the toes. So it will be limping, it will not be able to run again. I think that happened to a guy in a movie titled The Root by Haile Saleh, Kunta Kinte. Now, the guy African name was Kunta Kinte. The master that owns it want to give him Toby. He said, no, I'm not Toby. My name is Kunta Kinte. I'm from Africa. I'm from Gberefu Island. The guy was captured around Senegambia, we call it then. But today we call it Gambia. And they traced, the Haile Saleh traced that name from United States of America to Senegambia back then. They know as Gambia. They met with the family of that man. Also called that name Kunta Kinte. That to tell you how powerful our name is as an African. There's nothing wrong with our name. Now, communication is not allowed. They were fed only once in a day. And the reason why the European or the American don't want those enslaved Africa to communicate, because they are seeing that these black people were so powerful and so strong. If they communicate among themselves, they might plan among themselves. Now, a lot of people don't even know that we've been living on this earth about 50,000 years before the Caucasian, the European came to our gene. So we are gods that created them. We are not inferior. And Africa is never a poor continent. We have everything. The question is, why are we still suffering in the midst of the plenty? The problem is that they don't want our unification, so that they believe that these black people, if they unite, they take over the world. But either they like it or not, the book must be fulfilled. Africa will unite. And now, in the cool of the evening, where they live is called kota or cabin. Community is not allowed. Now, they have to cover their mouth with this thing called iron muzzle. Muzzle. But if they don't want to use this on them, the one that it's worst, they still put this iron inside the fire. They heat it, but when the tip turns red, they draw the upper lip and they perforate. Shh. They put another hole there. Shh. Now, after the piercing of the upper and lower lips of those enslaved Africa, before they fix the palo up on their lip, because they believe that if they should put palo directly, they can either use left side of the mouth to zip. So we call this mouth clip or mouth guard. So they just have to draw the two ladies way before fixing the palo on their lips. So there's no way to communicate. Now, I used to tell people that we blacks, or our forebears, we are so smarter. Had they didn't come up with the tactics of communication, the little freedom that we are fighting today cannot be possible. In the cool of the evening, where they were doing nothing, they gather themselves. They use body language. We call it party, juba, or humble, like. They were using that tactics, movement, to pass message to each other. Or sometimes the women plait their hair. We call it cornrow. And their enslavers were so amazed. These black people, there's something so special about them. How do they communicate? we lock them out, we pierce, we do this. They didn't know that they were using those choreography movements and signs to pass message to each other. And education started here from Africa. The older university is in Timbuktu, Mali, and around Morocco, where most of Europeans had their education. And Africa is never a poor continent. We've been endowed. Now, this one is called the children chain. While their parents busy working, but they're not to disturb their parents. This is for the leg of two children. Put their leg together this way, they lock it. And then this one is for their two hands this way, they lock it and put them aside. But they're not to disturb their parents while their parents busy working on the farm or on the plantation. Now, this one is called torture ring. Now, as you can see, it's not the size of my hand. But if I'm a slave, my master has to punish me, they have to braid the bowl. Okay. They will now force it down here. After forcing it down to the wrist, look at this knot. Back then, this knot is movable. They will lose this knot. But now, because the shackles and chains, they are over 500 years where we are not being born. And the knots are melted to the iron. So they will lose this knot. After losing the knot, they will now ask him to stand on a platform of 3 feet high. Then there will be a taller tree of this side. We call it gallows, G-A-L-L-W. They will now drill a tiny hole in the middle of this side. They fix it up. They will now return the knot so that it's very firm. Suddenly, they will drill the platform where he or she was standing. Now, I want you guys to just imagine all your body weight be suspended on air this way, and they will be there dying gradually, and they let other enslaved Africans stay aside to see the way you guys are looking at you, just to instilling fear into them that if you guys refuse to obey others, this all will happen to you. And eventually, if they die, no peace. Because they say, we are their property. A black man is their property. We are not their property. Now, I'm going to bring the chain down now. For each of you, if you want to put it on, feel free to do so. I'm going to bring it down now. For every one of you to feel the weight and tell me, what do you feel? And they wore this on their neck. They wore this under the scorching sun. And most of the time, it will absorb the sun. And it will burn in their neck. Now, this chain used to stay for so long on their neck. So it always deformed them after they move the chain from them because it's so heavy. Yeah. Okay, one by one. Let's see. Next. So, Teban lost the point of no return. Next. 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 Okay. How you want to put it on? So,
Like this.
So they will now, you see now, no, just leave it.
Okay.
They will tie their hand at the back this way.
Okay.
Leg was being chained, and they will walk with this to that narrow path called point of no
Return.
return.
Okay. So heavy. So heavy.
I think I thought was so long. Enough. Okay.
That is so heavy. Wow. My God.
Okay.
One of his words to me. That is not a joke, my brother. That is not a joke, my bro.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Enough. That's it. So it's always the form, the enslaved Africa. Now let's continue the talk. Let's go this way. Now, this is their drinking pot or bowl. Now, they normally bury these bowl outside to this. This is the level. They open the heart, they bury to this level outside. They now fetch water into it to its fullness. So 20 of them have to surround this, kneel it down. and they have to wait for order because you can't just go and put the water. You have to be. So the order goes, apes obey, and they go this way. Another 20 will come. Apes obey, and they go. Now, as you are consuming, the water will be reducing. Now, if you guys put your hand at the edge of this thing, it's sharper like a razor blade. According to the oral history here in Badagry, we are told that this thing you call the blood will mix with water, mucus. The next they have no choice. They have to fill the water with blood. If they repeat mistakenly, till next day, because water and food is once in a day. Now, let's go this way. Now, this effigy represents Mother Africa. You can see how beautiful she is. And today, how come there's a chain on the neck of Mama Africa? This chain must be removed for Africa to be free. That shows you or tells you that during the slave era, either you are rich, poor, king, queen, anybody could be a victim of slavery back then. And when the European came to Africa, we'll be spending money. I'm going to mention 4 types of money our forefathers used in the olden days. We used tobacco. Tobacco were used to produce cigarettes. They use what they call Yala salt. There's a local government in Cross River named Iyala. In Iyala, they use salt. The salt used to be like a white stone, thick white, pure white. Then the third one is called Manila. Manila used to come like a covering. But if you look at our 100 note, the one that carry our logo, there used to be a green star. In the middle of the side, there's a covering. If you on the back, you see 2 like something like very thicker than this. Portuguese use this as money. Our forefathers to use that money. Then the last but not the least called cowrie shirt. Yoruba call it Oweyo. Now, when they came, them say they can't do business with them with this. They should do trade by barter. So imagine European giving our forefather a bottle of whiskey and they collect 10 human beings as a slave. Now, some people will tell us or we ask, are you telling us that our forefather then, they don't know what they are doing? No, they know what they are doing. The question is, do they sell their own children into slavery? Just like maybe if the argument between you and me, maybe probably I'm more powerful than you. But what? I will sell you for peanut. That's what really happened. It's not as if they're not wise. They are wise. They know what they are doing. For them to use a bottle of whiskey in exchange for their own people. Like this small cannon gun, over 40 man. Now, the man buried here died October 16, 1893. His father facilitated the trade. We call his father's name Ondohun. But this man served with the British March 1852 to sign the treaty for the abolition of the trade right here in Badagry. When he died, this is where the family buried him. His father started the trade. He abolished the trade here in Badagry. Now, these are just a local musical instrument called ajogon, mostly used by the royal family to entertain themselves. Like why beating the gongs? Now, according to the reading, like 15 to 20 women will be holding this. Okay. Now, this way, you hold it here. Yeah. So, vertical, they'll be bringing that in. So, they'll be singing with it according to the reading. You understand? They'll be singing, we call it ajogon, local musical instrument. Let me have it. Thank you. Now, thank you. This man is a castrated slave. Why do they castrate the men? Because they believe, because most of them work as a bodyguard or as a domestic slave, they don't want to have a sexual intercourse with their master's wife. So they castrate them, and majority of them die along the process. But those that survive still look heavy like giants. They still use them to carry anything that is heavy. And most of the Arab slaves, they castrate most of their men. Today, if you go to Europe, America, Brazil, you see a very large colony of the blacks over there. And the Yoruba spoken in Brazil is called Lukumi. Now, the reason why we don't have Afro-African slaves much in Arab world, we don't have a very large colony in Arab world, because they castrate most of our men, and most of them died along the process, and some of them cannot reproduce again. And we call them the jihadists. That's how Islam came in Africa. Now, this water is at across the Atlantic Ocean. That island is across that, what they call the fresh water, the lagoon. So once you cross to that peninsula, you are going to walk like 15 minutes to this well. Who dug the well? This well was dug by the African chiefs that were doing the trade with the Europeans, the evil trade. Let me put that way. We call it slave attenuation well. When they reach here, they fetch water and give them to consume. When they consume the water, we are told that they will lose their memory. But it's not for life, for 3 to 4 months. But in my own research, I don't think this water is meant for them to lose their memory for some reason, because these people that you are enslaving, you are going to use them to work. Somebody with that memory will not be able to function. Yes. The essence of the water is just to subdue and calm them down for 3 to 4 months, so that when they get to Europe or America, they will regain their memories back. But ironically, today some say the water is still effective, some say it's not effective, but we don't know how true is it, because we never see any volunteer up to date. And this is when they signed the treaty. The treaty, I told that the Moby family were the one that, among the high chief that signed the treaty, you can see the name of the chief, the head of the chief, Akman, Oloto, Kosu, Wawu, Moby, Allah, Jenge, and Co. When they signed the treaty for the abolition of the trade. Let's go this way. Now, for those of you, if you are watching a movie titled Django Unchained, any slave that try to escape, they will release like 20 dogs after them. We call them killer's dog. And the dog will eat them to the bone. And any slave that refuses to accept the master's name or religion will be struck to death. And if they die, okay, because they are being treated of property of their master. This is another touching story. Now, this man here, this is the wife, and this is their kids. This is the master. The master wake up, he resold the husband to another merchant, and they're taking the man away. He might not have access to see his family. Some say those African Americans were so aggressive. Yes, they have to be aggressive because what their forefather went through. Now, this is how they used to move them from the hinterland in a single file to the market or to the point of no return. Now, taking them across the water to Europe, the team is known as the middle passage. And this is how they have to examine them. They look into their eye, take their decision to see if they are healthy, because they are going to use them to work. Hello. This is a market where they used to sell them. We call it Vlekete slave market. And this is a point of no return, which is across the lagoon. Any slave that got sick, they will throw the body into the water, because they believe the sick one will affect anyone. So once you are sick, they will dump you. Just imagine inside that lagoon. And sometimes, the reason why they don't even care about them, because most of them were being insurance. Insurance cover them, they're being insured. So they know that if they should lose one slave, they can still claim the money on the lost slave. Now, this guy here is not covering his face because he was ashamed of the shackles and chains. He is a stubborn slave. If you are so stubborn, the master don't want him to awake other slaves, because once you are stubborn, they believe that you will awake other. So they plug out his 2 eyes at the present order and slave. If you guys refuse to obey order, this is what will happen to you. So you're welcome to the Moby Family Slave Relics. Now we have a video on YouTube that you can watch. Just type Rope of Freedom. Rope of Freedom.
Rope.
Yeah. You can follow us, because Africa must be free, either they like it or not. Let's see the Baracoon.
You're welcome.
You are welcome to this compound and welcome to this community of Badagry Kingdom. You're welcome to Badagry Kingdom, the corridor of slavery in the year 1416 to 18th century. Also, you are welcome to this compound called Brazilian Baracoon. Baracoon means slave cell, slave storehouse, where they store slaves in those days awaiting the arrival of the slave master to come and buy them and take them away. So the man you are seeing in the picture here happened to be the rightful owner of this compound, who owns this compound. And the man you are seeing there, he happened to, he himself was once a slave. At a very tender age of 6, this man was captured in his own hometown called Ijogaorile in Ogun State. He was captured and sold into slavery. He was sold to a man called Abass. But mind you, slave doesn't have name, they bear their master's name. Or any name chosen by the master to give to the slaves. So the slave needs to bear. So this man needs to bear his master's name. The first master is Abass. Abass bought him and took him to Dahomey. And he lived with Abass in Dahomey. Before the man came, he used to come all the way from Brazil, the purpose of buying slaves from Africa. Anytime he come around, he always saw the gentle boy with the master, then he demand to buy him from the master. And the man, Mr. Abass, now resold him to Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams bought him and took him to Brazil. So both of them made him domestic slave, meaning he worked at home with the master. He worked at home with the master, and that gave him the opportunity of being sent to school. He was sent to school, even taught the slave trade business. After many years, he has stayed and lived with Mr. Williams. One day, Mr. Williams called him, Mr. Man, come. I want to give you your freedom, but on one condition. What is the condition? The condition is that he will free him, send him back to his country. Hey, you're doing the running runs. His master is what he's doing. He accepted and was sent back to Nigeria. He came down to Badagry, he bought this land and built this compound of 40 slave cells, mind you, with the help of his master. 40 slave cells in this compound, and each of the cells, they kept 40 slaves in each of the cells. That gives total number of slaves kept in this compound to be 1,600 slaves were kept in this compound and left the shore of this country through this slave port across the lagoon called Lagos Port Novo Lagoon or Badagry River, down to the island called Gberefu Island, from there to point of no return. From point of no return to unknown destination. Now, because of the kind of currency we spend and use in those days, we spend cowrie, cowrie shell, we spend manila, we spend beads, feathers, that's our currency. But all this currency does not have value in international market. That's why European master come about what we call trade by barter. Trade by barter, exchange of goods with goods, exchange of property with properties. That's why they come about bringing their product to Africa in the exchange of women, like umbrella. Umbrella is the value of 40 slaves, 40 human beings for one umbrella, a bottle of gin, 10 slaves, a bottle of wine, 10 slaves. Long cannon gun 100, the short one 40. Mirror and the bead depending on how you bargain. You can say 4, you can say 6, 7, 8, but highest is 10. But ceramic bowl is for 10 slaves. Then gun 40 slaves. Gunpowder 10 slaves. The kettle and the brass dish was a gift given to him after he accepted Islamic faith, because he was being preached to by Islamic scholars. He accepted the faith and he was turbaned Seriki Muslim of Badagry Kingdom. And that is where he saw the names he bears until he died. And the family, the children of this man, adopted 2 of those names as their surname up to today, Seriki and Abass. But the best name given to this man by his parents is Ifare Mleko. The name Ifare Mleko automatically erased from his identity, and he continued to bear Chief Seriki Williams Abass. The title name, the second master's name, and the first master's name. Mind you, these 2 entrance doors has been in existence since 1840s. Since this compound is established, these 2 entrance doors has been in existence. And in 2002, our former president came to this compound to commission this compound to be national monument under National Commission for Museum and Monument, National Museum, where I work for. In 2019, our immediate past vice president was in this compound in place of Professor Yemi Oshibaju. He came to this compound to see the only surviving umbrella for 40 slaves that you are putting to see today. And they said they should keep 2 slave cells down so that people can come and see the pains and the agony of our forefathers in those days. Can we go in to see the cell? Likewise, this umbrella as well.
Yes, sir.
So let's go this way. The room we just enter now is called inspection room. But the inner room is the main cell. But before we go in to see the cell and see the size of the cell, where they kept 40 slaves, awaiting the arrival of the slave masters, let me quickly introduce you to all these pictures and these shackles. Deep thought in the Baracoon. Slave executed for sales and the one in the middle, aggressive one. A woman being hung served as punishment. A man also being hung served as punishment. Sorrowful tears in the Baracoon. And they used dog to chase 2 couples who tried to run away. Dog caught them, they go after their throat, remove their throat, and kill them. Eventually, if they don't kill the dog, they release more dog to make sure the man is killed. And this is how they line them up going to point of no return. Chain in the neck, in the hand, in the legs. The kind of torture given to any disloyal slave. Here, they proclaim liberty, meaning freedom to the slaves. Why the slaves are carrying equipment for slave trade mission. And this is the picture of our immediate past vice president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, in this compound when he visited in 2019. The man that brought you, you know this man?
Yes.
My colleague, and this is me here. And all of Ife also in this compound when he visited. So right beside you there, you see the picture of the freed slaves. The freed slaves, the people that work on the plantation. When they are going to the plantation, this is how they cover their mouth. Why? They don't want them to eat from the plantation. What they use to cover their mouth is called iron muzzle. Iron muzzle. And sometimes they use branding to pierce the upper lip and the lower lip and the padlock. And all these shackles, this fishing is what they use on the aggressive slave to calm him down of his aggressiveness. And this one is called iron driller. And this one is called this shackle for 2 people's hand at the goal. 2 people's leg for ankle shackle. That chain is used to tie the babies down under so that we don't disturb their parents. Themselves while working on the plantation. And this big what they are carrying. And this one is called mouth cuff for the mouth to guide the mouth as well. And slave chain. Why are they covering their mouth? One, you don't want them to eat from the plantation. Mind you, but they are the one that planted it. You don't want them to eat from it. Secondly, you don't want them to talk, to interact with each other, so that they don't revolt their masters. That is the purpose. Let's see the cell. Cell we are talking about is 9 by 9 feet room. And this is the room where they kept 40 men. Come in. 40 men were kept inside this place, awaiting the arrival of the slave masters. And this is the room for the men, while the other one is for the women. 40 men here. And inside this room, they defecate, they urinate. And they don't allow them to go out to go and clean up. You can see the small window of ventilation. Now, this is the cooking pot of Seriki, the water jug, the water pot. The lamp they use palm oil to light in those days that has 3 faces. The lantern, headlights, the gramophone, the plate, and black and white camera. Those pictures are seen. Those are the picture camera they used to take those pictures. And this is the brass dish given to Seriki by Brazilian friend. After I was turban, Seriki was named Badagry Kingdom. And the highest medal from Vienna in 1873. The gin bottle, the remaining cowrie used by Seriki, the ceramic bowl in exchange of 10 slave each. Those are the ceramic bowl in exchange of 10 slave each. Yes, for one. So let's see the room of the women. See what we have there. The story building of Seriki, where Seriki lives before he died, and this is the entrance door of the story building. Chief Darosha of Lagos Island, Santos Silva, both of them, they are slaves. They return. After the abolition of slave trade, they return most of the slaves back to their various countries. Likewise, this man, Darosha and Santos Silva. And Lagos Island today, I don't know how familiar you are to Lagos Island. In Lagos Island, you hear some names like Humphrey, Muloni, Cowrie, Campbell, Holy Cross, Sangros, Smith, Williams, Macaulay. All of them, they are returnees. And here, the slave revolted here, they hung their masters. The slaveholders used octroyers to couples. And this chief used to capture people and sold people into slavery. So they go after him because he refused, they go after him to enslave him. So he said, instead of him to be enslaved, he would rather kill himself. So he stabbed himself to death with a knife. Here they proclaim liberty, the kind of torture, exhibited for sins, and one in the middle, aggressive one. Right behind you there, you see the family tree of Chief Seriki Williams Abass. I mean the children. These are the children, and look at him sitting down there. Jay was Toban, Seriki Muslim of Badagry Kingdom. And this is his handwriting. Seriki can speak 6 different international languages. So now let's see the room of the women. This is the room for the women. 9 by 9 feet room. Mind you, they menstruated on themselves as well. That's why they defecate and urinate here. And look at the small window, no ventilation. So, this is how Seriki sat down and was turban. And the clothes in which he was turban with, the one you are seeing in the picture there, this is the clothes since late 18th century. This cloth. And the only surviving umbrella of 40 slaves. This is the umbrella in connection to 40 slaves. Lift it up.
Okay, from here.
Is it light or heavy?
It's heavy.
Are you sure?
It's very heavy.
Photo menu. So, one slave will carry this umbrella on Seriki, the chiefs, the Abass, the emir. One slave will carry this umbrella on their head, and it must not fall. If by mistakenly the umbrella fell from the slave hand, they behead the slave immediately.
Jesus Christ.
So, these are some of the clothes he used when he was alive, and the box where he keeps his valuables, like documents and clothes. And some of the chain is still used on the sleeve as well. And that shear behind you there, that is the shear. Whenever Seriki wants to relax, it relaxes on that shear. And the iron corrugated sheets, the materials used to build this compound is brought from London. The iron corrugated sheet, the bond bricks, the nailed inches were brought from London. Those are the materials. So let's see the references. And ever since then, the well never run dry. And it was dug by the slaves in 1847. So this way. This is the court.
Palace of Council.
The court of Chief Seriki Williams Abass, where he used to pass judgments to any disloyal slave. Likewise, the Muslim society that he governed. This way he used to pass his judgment to them. And sometimes they still use it as meeting palace for councils of Abass. And here, the last one was buried here, called Chief Saka Seriki Abass. The last one of Seriki, born 1913, died 1987. 6 years after Seriki gave back to this man, Seriki died. Seriki died June 11, 1919, and this way he was buried. The children, family, and the Muslim society, they contributed money together to do this tomb for him. And Sam, the cells we are talking about started from this room. It goes round, likewise the middle. All in total are 40 slave cells in this compound. Each of the cell, they kept 40 slaves. And that gave us the total number of slaves kept in this compound to be 1,600 slaves were kept in this compound and leave the shore of this country through that slave port outside, across the lagoon, to point of no return. From point of no return to unknown destination. But the other side is called Gberefu Island. Gberefu Island, meaning dry land.
Dry land.
So you're welcome. God bless you. And this is where the cell ended. The last of the cell. That's where it ended. So any question?
Yes, sir. I want to ask you, so why discussing? You said this two back.
Not two men, there are many.
There are many. I came back after the return. The returning. They continue the slave on their back.
Before what I want to tell you is that it was after the abolition of slave trade. They returned most of the slaves back to their various countries. And mind you, sir, Seriki, he is the founder of Ayetoro in 1902. He founded Ayetoro in Ogun State. He founded the town in 1902. Because when he came back, he tried to look for his siblings, his family, but could not find anybody. And I saw an open land. Then the open land will now make it to be that town. Meaning, and why is it called Ayetoro? It was called Ayetoro to tell you that everywhere is settled. So let us come back and settle down. We call back the Abass, those to settle down in Ayetoro. So we founded Ayetoro. So you're welcome.
Everybody live jacket.
It's live. Momo like I am going to be live.
Yeah, safety precautions on, life jacket on.
Always safety.
We are heading to point of no return. Bahama return. Welcome to Gberefu Ancient Town of Tourism.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
You're welcome to the Gberefu Island. Gberefu means a dry land, island, a place surrounded by water. But here, during the period of slavery, it was called the point of no return, journey to unknown destination. When the slaves merchants used a paddle boat to cross the Potomac Lagoon with a paddle boat, when they get the slaves here, this is where they assemble the slaves. They let them be on a single file, one after the other, with their chains and shackles on the neck and the leg. Before they move on the journey, check on the elderly one and the sick one. The sick one are called the Macrons, the rejected slaves. Instead of them to give them the freedom, they rather use them as sacrifice. For the healthy one, for their safety journey and their water to the final destination. At here, we have 3 stopover at this island. This is the first stopover. The second stopover is at the middle of the journey, while the last stopover is the point of no return where we are going. But nowadays, it's called the point of return now because we are not slaves, we are returning.
Oh, they're still taking pictures at the back.
Yes, this is the second stopover of the slaves. So when they get here, they pull off the chains and shackles on the neck and the leg, and they force them drink from this way. After drinking it, the slaves will be less aggressive. They lose their memory for over 3 to 4 months. They put something called African concussion, some incantation, some African voodoo that's make them less aggressive. And before doing something like this, the slaves revolt with the masters at the point of no return, where we are going. And that is why they dug something like this. An African chief priest will be here, giving them the oil. They recite a memory after him. After that, they don't know where they're coming from and where they take them to. And because of this well, Nigeria could supply 24% slaves taken out of Africa, Angola 24%, Ghana 16%, Gambia 14%. Nigeria and Angola supply more slavery in Africa, but the white people prefer to buy more slaves in Nigeria and other country because of this well. And after a year, where are they going? Their journey still continues to another destination. They don't know where they're coming from again and where they're going to. So
Why has this water become so rough like this?
the water is dirty.
It's no longer.
Yes, nobody knows the water is still effective or not. Nobody fetch from it.
Touch this, not talk of drinking it.
But
It's
nobody wants to
subject
do
to
that.
continuous research.
By that time, the ladies went to touch water.
They force them to drink.
Yeah, they force them to drink. According to the tour guide that guided us the other time, he said because there's no volunteer. To taste the maybe is still effective.
Oh, no.
Nobody wants to.
They can take it to lab. Lab won't tell you that it's effective or not. It has to be tested on human bodies.
Human body.
But who are there those African components? Are they Africa or the whites?
We African.
Africa.
I said earlier, there will be an African chip.
Internal.
Yes, sir.
So let's proceed to
Return. Point of return.
yeah. We're now heading to the point of return now, formerly called point of no return.
This is the last point of the slaves, called the point of no return. Any slave that came here is no more going back to the mainland again. And that is why they call it the point of no return. These two pillars you are seeing at the front, the pillar is called the Ark of Departure. This was then, yes sir, this was then during the period of slavery. But the building at the back was built by our then governor, that is Fashola, in 2014. We want to use this as a tourist center. Unfortunately, they abandoned the building, and since then, the building is so much stronger again. It has been rusted because the ocean is a salty water, so that's why. But this two pillar was there during the period of slavery. The pillar is called the Ark of Departure. Departure, where the slaves are coming from and where they're taking them to. When the slaves pass through the Ark, they've crossed the point of no return. The Atlantic ship will be at the middle of the ice, waiting for them. In the ship, they have lower decking and the upper decking. They might load over 800 slaves up to 1,000 to 15 slaves at a time under the lower decking. And the loading pattern is like sardine. That is how they load them. While the upper decking, the master will be there sightseeing. On their way before getting to their final destination, it took them over 3 to 4 months on the icing. And the captain of the ship discovered the ship is overcarried. They have to drop some or kill some of them for the lighter of the ship before getting to the final destination. The places like Cuba, Jamaica, West Indies, USA, Brazil, Barbados, and Portugal. And that is why they call it the point of no return, returning to another destination. But nowadays it's called the point of return now because a lot of tourists came here and go back safely, and we are not slaves. And nowadays it's called the point of return. I think that is all we have for you. You are welcome.
Thank you very much.
Any question? You are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.